All right, this is the second update for the Salvation Army's International Emergency Services Team that is currently deployed in Indonesia to help with the earthquake and tsunami and liquefaction. Um, so the first thing that we started to do once the roads started to open back up was actually get out into the field and check our core community centers and schools and actually see how badly they were damaged. As we're checking in with our core, we're also kind of looking at just how the villages in general were impacted, so we can start to get a better idea of what projects we can do to support them moving forward. An important role of our team is to represent the International Salvation Army community. It is an honor to be deployed on this team and represent our countries and the international community, and just really show these people that there are many people around the world that are thinking of them, praying for them, just trying to give any level of support they can to help these people through an incredibly traumatic time. For an event of this scale, really one of the roles of our team is to attend a lot of meetings, making sure that we are serving people who are in need, making sure we're not duplicating any resources that our partners are trying to provide, and making sure we're just being the best stewards of the donations we are receiving. So we've been meeting internally with just other Salvation Army departments. We've been meeting with government partners on multiple levels, often reporting what we're doing with our mental health teams, with our mobile clinics and our distributions. We also spend a lot of our time at the UN cluster meetings. Internationally, they're kind of divided into different categories like logistics, water and hygiene, education, shelter, and basically at those meetings, that's where we make sure we're not missing any communities, make sure we're going through safety issues. It's really kind of the opportunity for all the NGOs to work on the same page with each other. We've also been meeting a lot internally, such as our education department, trying to figure out what education projects we can do for all of these students that and teachers that have now been heavily affected. And then we meet with local partners, local donors, and kind of see how not only can we do some immediate projects, but how we can do projects down the road as well. The Salvation Army is really strong in Sigi, which is kind of outside of Palu into the mountains. But up until this point, it had really been cut off. There were huge landslides during the earthquake that just destroyed the roads out there. So really up until this point, the only way you could get there was either by walking through these landslides or flying by helicopter. We had a crew ready to go kind of the first day that the road was open for passenger vehicles. They were only open for a few hours, coming in and out. There was safety crew kind of along the road, just kind of watching cars, making sure they were getting through. At the same time, there were also motorcycles going through. There were still large equipment operating, trucks going through, because at this point, this was now the only way to really bring product from Palu into this region. So we got to the Kulawi divisional headquarters. It was absolutely beautiful, up in the mountains. The headquarters didn't seem to be too poorly affected, but again, many of the core in the area, many of the schools in the area were completely destroyed. So we started to meet with the local leadership to actually kind of get the most up-to-date picture on the most affected villages within their division, and actually try to figure out how many people we're going to be able to help moving forward. We then actually went out and met with some of the local village leadership. At this village, this gentleman came out and spoke with us for quite a bit, gave us details on who had been affected, and actually took us through his village, gave us a tour, introduced us to some of the families who are now living in pretty much under just tarps for the time being. Right now I'm kind of standing in the middle of a town that you can tell was once full of people, and it's pretty crazy that at this point it's pretty much a ghost town. Everyone who is from here is all living at a camp about a mile away. We have been told that about 7 people passed away from here. After kind of looking at this village, this guy came out of his house and just kind of spoke with us for a few minutes about his damage and his family, and the team actually took a few minutes just to pray with him and give him some encouragement. It is about 7:30 in the morning. We are trying to go back to Palu. The pass just opened up yesterday. So they're basically working on this pass. There's been massive landslides. The Salvation Army vehicle that we're driving is bottoming out right there. But again, this is the safest way for us to do this, but we just kind of have to take our time.
Woo! Thank you. Praise the Lord.
As the American on the team, I'm certainly thinking about the United States right now, all the way on the other side of the world. Definitely thinking about these huge wildfires that are going through California. In our United States territory in Saipan, we're responding to the typhoon. And then down along the coast, the Southern Territory is still working hard to respond to all of the recent hurricanes. So yeah, from the other side of the world, my thoughts are certainly with you all, and I hope all the best.